Have you ever wondered what the Earth would look like if humans suddenly vanished? It's a fascinating and maybe a little scary thought experiment. Let's imagine it. One day, everyone is just gone. What happens next? In the first few hours, the world would fall silent. The constant hum of traffic, factories, and human chatter would disappear. But this quiet is just the beginning. Without people to manage them, power grids would start to fail. Coal and natural gas plants would run out of fuel. Wind turbines would stop turning without maintenance, and solar panels would get covered in dust. Within days, maybe a few weeks at most, the world would plunge into darkness. Only a few hydroelectric dams, like the Hoover Dam, might keep running for months or even years, until their automated systems eventually fail. Underground, it's a different story. Subway systems in cities like New York and London rely on constant pumping to keep groundwater out. Without power, these pumps stop. The tunnels would flood completely, turning into a network of underground rivers. It would be a dramatic and hidden transformation happening right beneath the empty city streets. Above ground, our pets and livestock would face a tough new reality. Indoor pets would be trapped, and many wouldn't survive. Those that escape would have to compete in the wild. Smaller dog breeds would struggle, but larger, more resilient ones might form packs and relearn their ancestral hunting instincts. Farm animals, bred for dependency, would be easy prey for newly emboldened predators. Cows, pigs, and chickens would have a very hard time adapting. Meanwhile, nature would begin its slow, steady reclamation. Weeds would crack through sidewalks and roads. Within a year, gardens would be overgrown, and parks would start to look like wild meadows. After about 20 years, the evidence of our landscaping would be almost gone. Vines would cover buildings, and moss would blanket everything. The iconic I Am Legend image of deer running through a deserted Times Square, that's not far from what could happen. Our buildings, our great monuments to civilization, would start to crumble. Without heating in winter, water pipes would freeze and burst, causing massive damage. Roofs would leak and wooden structures would rot and collapse. Steel and concrete buildings would last longer, but even they are not forever. Rust would eat away at the steel reinforcements, and eventually, after a few centuries, even the mightiest skyscrapers would begin to fall. Imagine cities slowly turning into modern ruins, covered by a new encroaching forest. The animal kingdom would be completely reshaped. Without humans hunting them and destroying their habitats, many endangered species could make a spectacular comeback. Populations of wolves, bears, and big cats would surge. They would become the new rulers of the urban jungle. The oceans would also recover. Without the constant pressure of overfishing and pollution, marine ecosystems would rebound. Whales, which have been hunted for centuries, could return to their historical numbers, filling the seas once more. However, not everything would be a simple return to a pristine past. Our legacy would linger in less beautiful ways. Nuclear power plants are a major concern. Without human oversight, their cooling systems would fail. This could lead to catastrophic meltdowns, releasing radioactive material into the environment. Areas around these plants would become exclusion zones, toxic for thousands of years. It's a sobering reminder of the powerful and dangerous technologies we've created. Our plastic waste would also stick around for an incredibly long time. Plastic bottles, bags, and all the other junk we've produced would persist for centuries, maybe even millennia. They would break down into microplastics, contaminating the soil and water for generations of wildlife to come. Future geologists might find a distinct layer of plastic in the rock strata, a clear signature of the Anthropocene, the age of humans. Even the air would change. Without our cars and factories pumping out pollutants, the smog that chokes our cities would clear up within weeks. The air would become cleaner than it has been in centuries. However, the carbon dioxide we've already released would remain in the atmosphere for a very long time, continuing to affect the climate. It would take thousands of years for CO2 levels to return to pre-industrial norms. So, what's the final picture? A world without us would be quieter, darker, and much, much wilder. It would be a planet healing from our impact, but also scarred by it. Nature would prove its incredible resilience, covering our cities and reclaiming the land. But our radioactive and plastic ghosts would haunt the planet for ages. This thought experiment isn't about wishing humans away. It's about perspective. It shows the immense, almost overwhelming impact we have on our planet, for better and for worse. It highlights our responsibility as a species. Looking at this potential future reminds us of the importance of living more sustainably and taking care of the only home we have. The world would go on without us, but maybe the real lesson is learning how to make sure it can go on with us. Thanks for watching. If you found this journey into a post-human world fascinating, don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit that notification bell for more videos that make you think. See you next time.